Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stripped by Sia, your podcast for strippers, sex workers, and all the fancy naked people in between. I'm your host, Steph Sia, aka Sia on camera. I'm a digital content creator in the adult industry space. Of course, if you are part of the industry, you're probably listening to this show. I was a former stripper. I can say that with confidence and ease now. I'm now a fully retired stripper. Also fully retired sugar baby. And I've been in this industry for over a decade and, dipping my toes and doing all the things. And I bring you the show because I want to be able to destigmatize sex work because our industry is super stigmatized. There's a lot of shame that comes with the work, whether it doesn't have to be. There's a lot of people employed by this work. I just want to be able to show all different sides of sex work and its industries while educating folks on the topic. So, as I mentioned in previous episodes, we're coming to the end, guys. I'm saying this is probably going to be one of the last episodes. It's going to be quite a short season. It is season 8. It's been really hard to release and record this season because my mind is kind of elsewhere. I have been working really hard on my own content creation business, so that's kind of where the energy is shifting. And I will give you guys a full explanation of what is happening probably on the very last episode. So I'm going to keep you on your toes. But of course, I want to continue to bring you some great, amazing guests for the last few episodes of the show. And this week is no different. Of course, I'm bringing on different guests every single week. And this one is, I think, especially important, especially if you are in this industry. Even if you're not a sex worker, if you are a creator of any sort, if you are posting your videos on TikTok and YouTube and places like that, you will want to listen to this episode because it will be applicable for you. We're talking about combating piracy and leaked content. And, it's a really sticky topic, but unfortunately we have to address it because it is an ongoing issue that affects the sex industry, of course, and any kind of creator-based business. So I have brought on today's guest, Noah of LegalFans, who is going to be talking to us about the ins and outs about, intellectual property, why it's important to kind of keep track of your content, where it's going, where it's living on the internet, people that might be stealing it, etc. And we're definitely gonna be talking about all the things today. We have a full hour of tons of topics to tackle today. But before we get to that, I just want to say a very, very warm thank you for everyone who has subscribed to my Patreon over the years, season over season. And I still am getting some new Patreon subscribers as well. So I just want to say a nice little quick shout out to those who are in the second and third tier of my Patreon. So I want to say hello to Geyser. You've been there since number 1. Same with Eric Arajo. You guys have been there since day 1. Bia York, of course, fellow content creator, and she's just amazing, from Seattle. Dan from Red Door Products, also from Seattle as well. Dale Flood from my hometown, Vancouver. Canada, we've got Reina all the way from Sweden. We've got Ruby from Victoria, BC. Couple new members on the third tier here. We got Francis Menard and we got Nicholas Watson. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Of course, all of the behind the scenes footage, all the full video based episodes, exclusive content, bonus episodes are still going to be living on Patreon. Maybe one day I'll be releasing some bonus episodes here and there, which, we're gate kept behind the paywall, but it's a very, very small paywall. But if you are looking to keep up with me and what I'm doing in my advocacy efforts on the ground here in Vancouver, BC, you can still become a member. It's patreon.com/strippedbysia. And we have rates is low. I guess tier is starting as low as $4 a month. I haven't said this stuff in about 4 months. So guys, I'm a little bit rusty here. But that being said, I want to bring the attention back to Noah of LegalFans here because, again, we just have a lot of stuff to cover in today's topic. So I want to introduce Noah, who is one of the founders of LegalFans. Yes, he's giving
Correct.
me a nod. Yes, he's okay, when do I get to speak? Now's your time to speak, Noah. I know that we connected maybe a month ago, back in October. And I know you contacted me about this topic, which I think is really, really important and everyone needs to hear about it. So I just want you to give a little rundown on maybe yourself, a little bit about, well, we're definitely going to get into the topic of LegalFans too, but how did you find yourself in this space?
Absolutely. So thank you, first of all, for having me. Yeah, I think it was like a month or 1.5 months ago. And when I reached out, the podcast got recommended to me by one of our creators, one of our customers, who said like, hey, this is exactly the place where you should be. And so I
Thank
reached
you.
out. Yeah, it was really cute. And so here I am. My name's Noah. I'm German, as you might have heard from the accent already. So apologize for everyone being, not liking the accent. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I'm one of the founders of LegalFans. Actually, I started the company good 1.5 years ago, completely from the scratch. Actually, having no idea from this industry, not really understanding what is behind, and that there is so much behind, basically. And yeah, we just the minute we started, we fell in love with the industry. The entire team, like we really didn't want to go back any single second, because we just see we can just do such a big impact of protecting creators. I think you just said it perfectly fine earlier. A lot of creators are stigmatized, put into corners, have a hard time, right, to be taken serious. And we just wanted to build a product that helps creators at low level, low threshold. So that's how we got into the industry. And yeah, since a year, we're doing this quite well.
That's
Here we
awesome.
are.
And I just like love any kind of company that is willing to help sex workers with some of the issues that we have, because it can be very difficult and isolating to be tackling these problems by yourself. And we are going to talk about different ways to tackle and how to protect your brand later on in the episode. But going back to the topic at hand, so like we're talking about leaked content, we're talking about pirated content, we're talking about content, if you're not understanding it or resonating, we're talking about content that is yours, that is stolen, screen recorded, that is uploaded onto these random tube sites. And you're probably wondering, why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? Because you're not getting paid for it. And other people are profiting off of you and putting some weird watermark and, going into deep fakes and all these things after that, impersonating and stuff like that.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because
Mm-hmm.
if you run down that like chain of logic there, yeah, you're not getting paid for that piece of work, but maybe there's not maybe there's like so much more that you're giving away when you have your content out there. It starts from your brand, which diminishes automatically as soon as, especially if you're, for example, in a niche. I mean, now we're digging in right into the topic. But if you're, for example, a creator that fulfills a niche on OnlyFans, let's say girl next door content, and then all of your content is out there, it just doesn't align with your story, right? So people could just go to regular porn sites and watch porn. Why should they build a relationship with you if they can get everything what they should pay for? That's the first
Yes.
thing. But I mean, obviously, it just goes down further. It's your privacy. It's your so people just know everything about you, right? You potentially, if you haven't done anything else before, and like fan sites are your first thing in the industry, then obviously you didn't want anything out there. And even if you did something else in the past, you might want to have that gone, and so on. So that's why it's so critical important.
Yeah. And even going back a step as well, too, I know, and I have talked to so many creators and baby sex workers or people that are wanting to dip their toes into this industry. And they're like, oh, well, what happens if my content gets leaked? And that is something that you have to really face head on. Because honestly, when you get into this industry, it's just kind of a fact that your content will be leaked at some point. And I just want to be super frank and transparent about that, because as subtle as you can be and as discreet as you can be, there's still someone that is going to find your stuff and you know leak it out to the world to see. Might be using that to dox you. Maybe it's a personal thing, maybe it's some stranger on the other side of the world, but it's unfortunately something that's happening to so many of us, including myself, which is really
Yeah.
shitty.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can categorize it quite well into two main categories that are disturbing you as a creator. I would say that's what we're facing. The first one, that's it's not the critical one. It's one of your very close fans that like loves your content and is bragging about, or and maybe they sign up to some forums, they share some of your pay per view content stuff there. They're harmless, because the reason why they're harmless, they usually share it to pages that are in the US, for example. So if you want to do something against it, you can do so. But then there's like part B, and that's I think what you're referring to, the tube sites and so on. So there are people that actually have no other thing to do than making money off your content, because it's cheap, right? They can just copy your content and just display it and take money for it. It's like if they wouldn't have any costs with it, obviously. And those are the ones they do this professionally. They scrape your pages professionally. They subscribe, they pay once, and then they redistribute and make a lot of money off you. And those are the harmful ones. And it's just such a numbers game. Like there's so many leaks out there for every single creator. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really
What you're
shocking.
saying, yeah. What you're saying, you have to understand it, that it's happening, and you definitely have to be aware that it's gonna happen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and luckily there are things you can do about it, which we will get into later down in the episode as well. And gosh, I remember like finding some of my leaked content. This is not too long ago too, and I'm just like, I know where it was from. It was from when I was doing a gold show on one of the platforms, and I'm just like, this is not a great look for me. And also it really feels like a violation because it really is an invasion of your privacy. And I really want to hone that fact down because it also like branches into the topic of like, okay, we're talking about intimate images, videos of yourself that you're not consenting to put out into the world, which can be used for monetary gain for a lot of those folks, but also can be in another corner used against you to for people that want to impersonate you, that people want to create like fake accounts that are of you, also funneling down into that second category that you were mentioning there, Noah. But it's a huge umbrella in terms of like leaking your content, leaking images that you didn't want people to see and stuff like that too. So I want to talk about, and you kind of touched on it earlier, Noah, that duty to protect your brand. I'd love to kind of dig a little bit deeper into that topic and why it's so important to protect it.
Absolutely. So again, here there's two things that come with it. Let's start more from a financial perspective. What I'm saying with that is because we see we have about 2,500 creators that we work for at the moment, and we are monitoring their revenue streams on the pages like OnlyFans and so on, because we want to see how it changes after leaks are decreasing. We usually see revenue increasing, basically. But what I'm trying to say, or the point I'm trying to make, is if you're not taking care of your brand, which means like if you're having your brand, like it looks, again, if you have your content out there, it looks quite cheap. It doesn't align with the idea of being like the girl that is, how do you say it, achievable. People want to like have you as their girlfriend or whatever. So that's just what makes it so difficult. That's why I personally think it really makes sense. And the second part is what you just said also, see, imagine people creating fake profiles on Instagram with your pictures, pretending to be you, selling content with crypto, on Telegram or wherever in your
Like
name.
that.
And then imagine and they find out that it wasn't you. Like imagine how this like ruins their trust in you, how they will be like shit talking about you, because you are kind of always responsible for what happens with your brand. Not looking over legally, it's, I mean, we have a very broad US audience here. In the US, you're not at least legally obliged to do anything against the fake profiles. Like there's no legal consequence you can face from. If you're a creator, for example, in Germany, completely different page, there you're obliged to go against those fake profiles because you have some fault with it if you don't. So yeah, very interesting to know that.
That
So,
is
but in
really
general,
interesting.
yeah, but in general, it really just
Yeah.
makes sense to take care of it because, yeah, you're building a brand. It's like, I'm not sure. I don't want to name other brands, but imagine like a big sports brand. Everyone can think of one now. And if you type their name and you find like a lot of Asian shops with fakes and counterfeit products, how does that look for the brand? It doesn't look like they have their shit together. And exactly this is what it is with you. Exactly. That's why you should do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It cheapens it a bit. It tarnishes your name. And going back to what you said about like, okay, like there's some person that's stealing your videos and like, scamming people with those crypto scams and like being added to Telegram and all that stuff. But yeah, it's the amount of times that I've seen that on like X, like a screenshot of like, that's not me, that's not me. That is always incredibly disappointing to see. And of course, we can only do so much as creators to, like you will know it's us if you're subscribing to our website and all that stuff. But then like, there's also a certain degree of media literacy that also needs to be involved with that conversation too.
Absolutely.
Sorry, quick question. I just got like a pop-up saying that I think you changed your device or something.
I didn't do anything.
Maybe didn't do anything, or maybe it just switched to another device. If not, I can still hear you. It should be fine.
Did the microphone change again or what? Is that
Now
what
you're
you're saying?
back. Yeah, it's okay. We're good. We're
No,
good.
but it shows me, like what you just said, it just shows me I have a different microphone, but I cannot change it right now. Let me try it.
Yeah, you're back to
Please,
normal again.
you can hear
You're
me,
you,
right?
like you're back to normal now. So I don't know what happened there, but that's okay.
How is that possible?
Sometimes technology is not on our
It's a little
side. And this has
creepy.
also happened to me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm the host. Like, why is this happening? But no, you're actually good right now. I just wanted to like pause and just double check. So
Do we have 20 seconds to just check
yeah,
if I
for
can
sure.
change the input? No, but it's correct. I don't know what.
No,
In
you
case
sound
you hear
fine.
me, it's good. All right.
I might just pause you again if that happens, but if not, like it wouldn't be a huge editing issue on my end. I just have to adjust the levels, so it's not a huge deal.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
can
pop
hear
back.
you perfectly fine.
No, you're all good. I'm gonna pop back in. You're also mentioning about jurisdiction, which I think is also a topic of interest as well, because I always never hear about that. Because we are going to talk about like ways to take your content down, and I feel like a lot of people are familiar with DMCA takedowns, which are you mentioned only in the US. I will let you take the reins on this, but maybe sorry, I'm going ahead of myself. Why don't we go ahead and actually define what DMCA stands for, and then we'll talk about different jurisdictions.
Okay, so let me try to explain it as simple as possible. So, in general, if you have the ownership of a piece of content, if you produce it and you own it, like probably your content, then you have a kind of a right to distinguish where this content is allowed to appear and where it shouldn't appear. And the US has like a law that's called the DMCA law, or it stands for Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Super crazy word. All what it says is basically you can tell someone if they're using your content, they're not allowed to use it. If they're monetizing it, you have chances of getting even some compensation on them using it. I'll dive into that maybe later when we maybe talk about copyright registrations and how you can actually push those charges. But it's not that easy. But generally, this is a law. The law allows you to be the boss of your own content, and if someone is using it, you can tell them, "Hey, I want to have this law executed on you. Remove my content." That's basically the easy part on the law. So, but then what you just said, jurisdiction, that's where things get critical. And I love to make another metaphor here. Let's imagine someone is like standing on the street and he has like all your content on a flash drive and he just sells it for like $20. Just imagine. It's very easy. You could
No.
call the cops, you could call the cops, you could get a lawyer, you could sue his ass off, and everything would be fine. That because he's in the US, he's in front of there, everything is like legally not a problem. But with the copyright and your content being on the internet, the borders are not not there and
They're
not
not as
easily to it's very
right.
anonymous, or people can be everywhere in distributing your content, and that's why it's so critical, because every country has different laws, right?
Yes.
So in Europe has a completely different. Europe is not a country, but in Europe there's just a completely different standard of how you take down stuff compared to the DMCA law in the US. Even though it has the same outcome, your content is yours and it can be taken down, but it's just a different paragraph you have to name to let them take it down, basically. And so that's why it's so critical with online content and the jurisdiction.
Super important too. And also, you actually mentioned something else too in terms of like ownership and talking about who owns the content too. And if you own the content, yes, that's great. You can post it wherever you want, and et cetera, et cetera. But I also think we should also talk about that, especially when a lot of us are collaborating with other people. A lot of people are working with other people as well too. Can we talk about, I guess, content ownership and like intellectual property?
Yeah, absolutely. So content is like legally seen as anything else you own. You can compare it to a handbag, and you have the right to decide who can deal with, or who can work with this handbag, or who can use this handbag, right? So that's why it's so critical. Also, for example, some of you might work with an agency, or some of you might work with studios and production companies. It's very important to specify what can happen with this handbag. So legally, everything can be put in a contract. So you could say, I can use the handbag, but someone else owns the handbag, or you can say, I own the handbag, but someone else can use it for the time that we're working together. And that's what I'm trying to say with your content. So we really
Mm-hmm.
recommend our creators always and ever to be the last man standing who owns the content, basically. Because like you can always say, if you work with an agency, for the time you're working with the agency, they're allowed to use it, they're allowed to distribute it. I would always specify what they exactly can do with it. So they're allowed to post it on OnlyFans, on Fansly and this page, but they're not allowed to create dating profiles. They're not allowed to create AI twins of you. They're not allowed to create replicas of you. Everything can be specified. And that's like the same thing. Like you have, what is important to understand, that your content is just seen as any other thing and you can legally agree to everything. So if you're getting into the wrong hands, they'll try to have you like not own the content anymore. So they pay you money for it, obviously, but after that, they own the content. So when you decide to not work with the agency anymore, they're like, okay, goodbye, I'll produce new content. But as soon as you use your old content, which you think it's your content because you made it, they're going to sue your ass because you agreed to a document where you said it's their content now. And that's what you need to be careful with. That's what I'm trying to say.
And that's super important.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, continue.
Just because you owned the handbag once doesn't mean you can use it again, if we stay with this example. Yeah.
No, that's actually, you're so good at metaphor. So good at metaphor. You make it very easy for people to understand. I appreciate the picture that you're painting.
People usually tell I'm talking too complex and too legalese. And this, in combination with my lack of English skills, brings out those fabulous metaphors.
It's perfect. I'm thoroughly entertained, Noah.
Yeah.
But like going back to the topic and just, seriously speaking, though, it's always important, especially again, talking to new creators, but actually not even new creators, like for anyone that you're going to be working with or collaborating with, or any kind of company that you might be working or liaising with, always important to look over your contracts and to have that in black and white and that you fully understand what you're signing. Because like, like you said, do you really want people using your content to make versions of you, which is super common nowadays, and also seeing your picture on other like promotions and websites and stuff like that. So it's important to ensure that you are aware of what your content is going to be used for, how it's going to be distributed, and hopefully you'll have a say in that. I think that oftentimes that can get overlooked, and people get lost in the excitement or the promise of money coming into this industry, so on and so forth. So just making sure that you are fully consenting and being aware of what you're getting yourself into.
And yeah, maybe one last tip here. We're always putting shame on AI, but I can really recommend you to just take those contracts, plug them into ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever you're using, and let it just like give you a rating on how it would like evaluate this contract in your position, and really challenge it and be like, hey, what are the critical points? And it will tell you very straight to the point. This is critical. This is critical. I can like flag it in green, yellow, red. This is not a problem for you. This can be a problem, and this is like super bad for you. So really do this and just don't sign random documents.
Yes. Unfortunately, it needs to be said though. So thank you for the reminder.
That's what we deal with every single day. So yes.
Right. And we are going to definitely get and sink our teeth into all things LegalFans shortly as well. Now, I want to kind of go into like the process. So in terms of like, say you're a fellow creator, you're stumbling on the internet, Googling yourself. I don't know if anyone else does this, but I definitely Google myself every now and then. And you find some leaked content of yourself online somewhere, so let's say like some tube site or whatnot. If this is happening to you, what kind of steps can you take to get that content removed from said platform and said company? And how can you like protect yourself for next time? It's a big question.
Yeah, I think it just summarizes what we just said. So let's just go with this ideal scenario. You find leaked content of you, because we're getting back to this jurisdiction problem. And I think that's where it gets a little harder again. But let's just say you find it on Reddit, because we have to name those sites, on Reddit, on pages that are accessible. They're super willing to like do something, or X or Twitter or whatever. Then there's usually at the bottom of each page, there's like a tab where it says report DMCA or report copyright infringement. Either it's a form or it's an email address. You can reach out to them, usually if they're in the US, and they usually care about what you're telling them. It doesn't really have to be formal, but you can again ask ChatGPT to write you a formal takedown DMCA takedown notice, or you just look for a demo up online. You send it there and you pray. You hope that they take it down.
Pretty much.
That's what you can do. I mean, if it's a site which is not in the US now, I'm going to tell you in a minute how you can find out where a site is hosted. That's also critical. A lot of them, at least, they provide an email where you
Yeah.
can like submit your claim. But what we've learned, and that's why we started the company, often they don't care because they know they don't care.
Right.
If your DMCA takedown is not formal enough, if it's missing something, if it's just not the right ownership, like there's different paragraphs or legalese text that you can use, and if you use the wrong one, they have like, for example, fair use policies which they could argue under. It's just a pain in the ass
Yeah.
to take care of it, but you can. So if you find something, what I would always do, let's bring it down into like a step-by-step guide. What I would do,
Sure.
I would just plug, if it's not like very obviously a US company like Reddit, I would just take the URL and plug it into a page. It's called whois.com. So you
Okay.
just type in the URL and it shows you who hosts
Yeah.
the stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it just shows you like
Yes.
the registrar and everything. And then you check, okay, this is like, oh, it says, oh, it's a company in Russia. Oh, it's a company in Latvia. It's a company in the UK. It's a company, yeah. So, and based on that, you already know which jurisdiction the takedown will take part of. And then I would just take like the URL and plug it again into ChatGPT, be like, hey, there's content stolen on a page that is hosted in the UK. Write a takedown notice according to their law. They're going to prompt you something. You plug and copy and paste it into your email program, and you send it to them. And then you have to monitor it, obviously, and hope that they take it down. That's the formal way you can go. And the second thing,
Mm-hmm.
that's something you can always do. That's also important to say. You can just report it to Google as well. And what they will do, it's like a form. You fill in the same information, and they will kick it off or kick it out of their search engine. So no matter where the stuff is like hosted, even if it's in Russia where it's usually hard to get stuff removed, Google is going to remove it from their search engine. So when someone types your name, they're just not going to find the entry anymore. So it's still, if you have
Mm-hmm.
the direct link, it's still accessible. But if you just like type it, you don't find it anymore. That's what we call delisting in our industry. So it's just
Right.
delisted off the search engine. Correct.
Right. Yeah, that's another
That's what
option
you could
as well, which
do.
I think is important. Yeah, the options that you can do personally and manually yourself. So, is there much of a success? I don't know if you know, but is there much of a success rate that you might know of, say, in the US for DMCA takedowns?
I can only speak about our success rate with DMCA takedowns because that's the
Mm-hmm.
only KPI that we measure. Given that every single DMCA takedown has absolutely 100% the correct way of sending one, because that's what like the reason why DMCAs usually fail, because just people ignore them because they say it wasn't formal enough, it was missing this and that. And for us, it's like a 97%
Wow,
takedown rate, and the
that's awesome.
3%. Yeah, the 3% depends on the creator if they want to like take it to court or not. So again, according to the law, and if we know that it's hosted in the US, it's theoretically 100%. They have to obey the law, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, if they don't, and that's kind of what the DMCA law is made of. If they don't respond to this DMCA claim, you're entitled to compensations up to $30,000 per work. So it could be
Mm-hmm.
quite a lot, but obviously it
That's a
requires you
long,
to go to court, to take it to court, to
yeah,
know who it is, to sue them, and
it's a long
yeah,
process.
theory and reality is often a little shifted here.
They're a little bit different.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't say that it's always going to be 100% accurate, like you say.
Yeah.
Because, yes, as you were mentioning, like you pray and you hope that it would get taken down. But the reality is, Noah, you said, like, most of these companies just don't actually care. So, which is problematic and really, really shitty. Really, really shitty. So, I mean,
And the biggest problem is that most of the content is just not leaked in the US. That's the biggest issue. The biggest issue is that the people doing it professionally, they are aware of the DMCA law.
yes.
And so they're looking for DMCA friendly hosting countries, like again, like Russia or
Yeah.
just somewhere eastern
Romania.
in Romania. Yeah, Romania is EU,
Yeah.
so Europe. So that's potentially not that bad. But yeah, but those countries, exactly those kind of countries where just, yeah, where it's just where you as a single creator, and they take that into consideration, obviously, where you as a single small, maybe baby creator in the US are never going to go to like sue them in an international copyright infringing lawsuit about that one picture that was posted on
Right.
OnlyFans.
I wonder if you ever heard of any cases where creators are taking these perpetrators to court. I don't personally hear too much of it, but I'd love to hear and pick your brain if you've heard. Any instances?
100%, because we do this ourselves.
Yeah, of course.
So
This is right down your alley.
so we've seen the US is especially under the times right now, political times, where porn is even more, how do you say that, loved by the government.
Yes.
That's a little ironic
Yes.
here. Um, During these times, it's harder, especially to prove ownership for courts. That's why we recommend our creators, and again, that's what we're talking about later, maybe a bit, to just do more than just posting the content online, to potentially watermark their content. There's ways to do this, to potentially protect their stage name or copyright their images under copyright law, so that you can register trademark on your stage name. You can register your single work as like something that's protected by the copyright law. And if you do this, then you have way higher chances of succeeding in court, and especially way higher chances of actually getting money off it, which then still requires the person leaking your content to have this kind of money in the bank, right? That's always the big part. So just because you have a paperwork that says they owe you 10 grand, if they don't have it, yeah, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. This just sounds so depressing and, can be very overwhelming for a lot of people because this is people's livelihoods. This is our jobs, our means of income. And to have people that are profiting off of our own work can be incredibly infuriating, but also really, really discouraging in a type of way, especially as you're explaining how this process is going and the realities behind it. And unfortunately, on this podcast, I don't sugarcoat anything. I feel like we have to be responsible and just telling you what kind of like how it is. But on the other side, I mean, talking about ways to protect yourselves and things you can do to be proactive, like be proactive in protecting your brand and your content and stuff. I think it brings us to where you guys are at LegalFans and the service that you are bringing and the unique way that you are combating leaked content. I'd love to hear more. Of course, I have done a bit of research on you guys as well, but I would love for you to take the throne here, Noah, and kind of guide us through, because there's, as you said, like there are so many different companies that are out there that are helping assist with this huge problem that's like so prevalent in the adult industry. I'd love to hear how you're doing things differently and how you're helping other models and creators.
Yeah, I think I completely agree to what you just said, that it's kind of depressing that the reality looks so bad for creators, especially since this is not what you want to do as a content creator. You as a content creator, you want to produce content, you want to
Yeah.
sell, you want to engage with your fans, you didn't sign up to do this to fight piracy all day long. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is where we come into place, where we decided to build a solution that is, first of all, a very achievable, not achievable, a very affordable. Apologize for creators, that it doesn't cost you a fortune to have something in place to protect yourself, and also just a solution that covers everything in this means. So you'd be like, okay, I'm going, for example, with LegalFans, and then I'm covered for the piracy part. So maybe just to explain a little bit what we're doing. So we're using super futuristic AI software and solutions that we've built ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It has like a direct integration to the fan sites or to the sites where you are. So we're connected to your OnlyFans, connected to whatever site you use. And whenever you produce or put content to your vault, we automatically scan it into our LegalFans software. And we then, from that point on, depending on your tier, but in the best tier, 24/7 scan the internet if it reappears out there. So that's that's the first big part, which you would have to do manually. Instead, you would have to Google yourself, as you just mentioned it, and you have to do it basically all the time. And that's what we've built an AI for, to basically know what your content looks like and then scrape the internet 24/7 for it. That's the first
That's
part.
so cool.
And
That's
then the
so
second
freaking
part,
cool.
yeah. And then the second part, and that's the bigger part, and now there's also more to it, but the second part is our AI is then evaluate, and also humans, of course, then evaluating if this content should be out there or should not be out there. Because what you shouldn't forget, you have a lot of content out there that should be there. It's teasing, it's bringing fans to your page, it's driving traffic. Don't take that off.
Yeah.
And that's what
We
we
still need
trained
that.
our what we trained our AI on. We can proudly say we have the best AI out there, or the best system. We call it LegalFans Intelligence, to decide if a content is harmful because it's like a pay-per-view content, or if it actually like drives traffic to your Instagram or to your OF page, which definitely shouldn't be there. And If we decide it's harmful and it should be taken down, then we categorize it based on jurisdiction, everything completely automated. We send the correct formal, probably DMCA takedown or EUC takedown, that's the European law, or whatever jurisdiction. And parallel, we're a trusted copyright partner of Google. That's also something you can you only get if you submit like huge volumes. Just to give you an impression,
Nice.
we're removing like 5 million infringements per month. That's just the amount of numbers. That's why it also makes sense to have a partner and not do it manually, please.
Yes.
Please.
My gosh, it's somebody's full-time job. So
correct. Yeah, AI's full-time job now.
Yes.
But yeah, what it does basically, the minute we find it, the minute we send it to Google, the minute we delist it, what I just explained earlier. So, and that's what our customers are already happy with, because we have to understand we're never going to clean the internet 100%. There's always going to be leaks in shady groups, shady forums. Telegram takes like 6 to 8 weeks to respond. There will be never, or very unlikely, the situation where zero content is out there. But with Google and us as a trusted copyright partner, we have response rates of like 1 to 3 hours on average. So as soon as we find it, after 1 to 3 hours, it's gone on the internet.
What?
Yes,
That's amazing.
It doesn't mean it's gone on the website. So if the person has like the direct link, it's still there, but it's gone on the search. And that's what your fans do. If they want to like purchase content of you, they potentially check Google, they type your name, type leaks, type nude. That's what I would recommend you to see if you have a leak problem. Type your name, type leaks, type nude, Jesus, and then see if there's content popping up. And this will be gone if you go with a service like ours. That's the first part. On top of that, we have.
But there's more.
There's more. We have exactly the same thing for fake profiles on social media. We're a trusted partner of the big social media companies out there. Our AI and our humans are scanning Twitter or X, Instagram, all Meta, Facebook, TikTok, Telegram, you name it. We're scraping it, we're scanning it, we're looking if someone pretends to be you, if someone's copycatting you. And if so, we're sending formal impersonation notices to those companies and be like, remove this or we're going to sue you. And then they remove it. Everything also automatically. And now maybe just talking a little about the price. We have 2 tiers which you can choose depending if you're like we really wanted to have a small low entry barrier for creators that are just starting out, because we just see it's super important to start also as a small creator as early as possible with like brand protection and content protection. So our smallest plan starts at $70 or $69 per month, which is absolutely okay.
Yeah, it's very reasonable.
It scans the internet once a week, and it protects basically one stage name. What does that mean? I usually take the same example. If you're known as Blonde Babe, then this will be protected. It doesn't matter how you spell it. If you spell it with like Blonde Babe 01, 02 or something, everything around this name is protected. Like if you have different usernames on different platforms all around Blonde Babe, you can take the small plan. And then we have a bigger plan. This one is $149, so $150 per month. Also completely fair. It scans the internet 24/7, what I mentioned earlier. It includes the fake profiles, what I just said, and it includes unlimited names. So if you're also the Blonde Barbie or whatever, then this is covered as well.
Wow. Okay. Hang on,
A lot
people.
of talking.
I have lots of questions and stuff too. And also, listeners, if you made it this far, there is going to be an incentive at the end because you might be getting something super special at the end of the episode, courtesy of LegalFans. So I know that Noah has given us this huge spiel. I have questions. Many questions, because of course there are lots of other companies that are doing similar work to what you're doing. What caught my ear, which I was really excited about, was to hear that you have a mix of both AI robots and also humans. I think it's so important because there are a lot of there are other companies that just use only AI, and I know a lot of people are skeptical to an extent of AI's role in some technology like this and like how reliable it would be. So it gives me a bit of comfort to know that there is still a human behind things too.
Every single takedown is human validated. Every single takedown, because we're sending takedowns in your name. We already have a very good filter in there that like prevents false DMCAs again. But in the end, every single takedown is checked by a human.
Thank God.
Absolutely. We just use AI and technology similar to this to obviously just gather those huge amounts of leaks. So we don't have anyone sitting there Googling your name all day long.
Yeah, you have some kind of script.
Typing your name into Google. This part is automated. And the first evaluation of is this a leaked content or not is also automated. But before we send something for takedown, obviously it's checked by humans.
By humans.
What you just said, yeah, sorry, yeah.
So essentially, like AI, their role is just kind of like combing the internet, doing a few combs through everything and sweeping everything that way. And then, of course, you will have some kind of human person to look at the content or like whatever that next step in the process is before things are formally taken down.
Correct. So when you decide going with a service, whatever service out there, you want to look, you can separate our service into two main parts. One is the finding part and one is the takedown part again. All companies follow quite a similar takedown way. A lot of them are trusted copyright partners, just to be straight and honest. And a lot of them know how to file a legally correct DMCA takedown notice. Unless if they don't, you should definitely not go with them. But what the companies differ in is the finding process, right? And that's where we believe are the strongest in. And that's just because it's a mix of over 9 different types of technologies, including one of them being humans actually working on it, of how we find leaks. And our competition out there, what they usually do is they run keyword queries, they type your stage name, what I explained earlier, what you could do yourself. They partially automate that. They just like run your name with leaks and nude and so on, and then they scrape the internet and send takedowns. We do this as well. This is what we throw on top for free. But with us knowing your content, that's why we have this integration tool, for example, OnlyFans. We just know what we're looking for, or the AI is knowing what they're looking. Now you can evaluate it for yourself. What do you think is more accurate? If you have what you're looking for and then you're looking for it, or if you're just randomly typing keywords and queries and look into the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would always look into. I would always, because everyone promised you to take down stuff very quickly. But since they're all going the same way, the speed doesn't really differ between the companies. Only the bad ones, they're just bad. But in terms of finding, you want a service that is there. Yeah, but you want a service that is there 24/7 and actually finds the stuff, because if you don't find it, you can't take anything down. And that's where you want a partner that knows what they're doing.
And I like what you said too about, delineating and distinguishing between good content and bad content. Because yes, we do have a lot of teaser videos that are out there. We want to, it's part of the sales funnel. You want to just like tease their content out. You want to lure people in. And if a company or if a service is taking that down, that's also hurting your business a ton too, right? It's killing those magnets.
Yeah, we know one competitor that is like facing several lawsuits just because of this, because of taking false content down. We're not naming names. We said that. And then we know others that they just remove everything, right? They just remove literally everything they can find on the internet. Congratulations, that's perfect. If you want to stop in this industry, if you don't want to be out there anymore, then those kind of services are great. We also offer this, by the way, in case you ever be like, oh, I want to have stuff removed from my past. I just don't want to be a creator anymore. We can get rid of everything. But if you are a creator, you don't want that.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to remove your link tree. It doesn't make sense to kill your own Instagram accounts that you're driving traffic to.
No, but I like to hear that too, because we do have a lot of people that are exiting out of the industry as well, and or who are moving into different types of work. They're leaving the adult industry, they're starting a family, they have unfortunately partners that don't agree with this part of their lives. So that is something that you offer as well. Like you can also do that if
it's a little more
different
complex.
service.
It's a different service. It's a little more complex. Yeah. I think we're one of the few companies out there, I wouldn't say exclusively, even though I think it is, but we're one of those few companies out there that actually employ own lawyers in different jurisdictions, because we're also doing basically everything around creators' needs. So in case you need anything, reach out. What I'm trying to say is there's more ways of removing content forever. So for example, especially in the EU and in Europe, there's the right to be forgotten. I'm not 100% sure how that applies in the US, but definitely there's something similar. That just like allows you to be forgotten on the internet. So
you did not exist.
Yeah, like you didn't exist. Like you have a right to be invisible at some point, and we can execute it for you. But as you can imagine, some pages will comply immediately, other pages will not comply. So that's why it's a little more complex, but we always recommend to just reach out and have a chat. And yes, we do this. We also do this for if you have like personal and private information, someone leak your phone number. I think that's also a critical thing we have quite often. Some stalker fan
Yeah,
Says
I was gonna
like
ask about
where
that.
you live. We can always do something about it. I don't want to promise anything, but we can always at least talk to a lawyer and see if we can help anything. And of course, there's
Yeah,
ways
I
to
was gonna
go.
ask about that because I've also dealt with a stalker before too. Not even in relation to my adult work, but for like vanilla work, which was really frustrating. Also, like, yes, dealing with stalkers is one thing. Dealing with being doxxed, so people like, finding out that you're a sex worker, finding your content online, and them trying to redistribute it that way in the like intimate images or intimate partner violence digitally, or like revenge porn, basically. Is that
Yeah,
something
I
that you
mean,
guys help with too, or
yes, 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 yes. I
wow?
mean, we have a forensic team. We have, so maybe for the people who obviously don't know us yet, we are originally like the parent company is a Swiss company in Switzerland,
Mm.
but we're operating in Florida. We have offices in St. Petersburg near Tampa. And it's quite new, like half a year, a little more. We have an office in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And there we have like a small forensic team. And the forensic team is actually able to do exactly what you just mentioned. We're able to find out behind IP addresses, like if someone is like stalking you, if someone is like sending you stuff, we are able to find out who's behind this. Because I think that's usually the revenge porn problem often,
Yeah.
that you don't know who it is. If you know who it is, even better. One of our lawyers, he's going to rub his hands and be like, yeah, an easy game, because obviously we can do something against this. But we also have capabilities to find out who did something. So yes, we do this as well. But
Wow.
it's never like while we talk with LegalFans or our leak scanner, this is like an automated software product. You can like run it yourself. It's like an app you can purchase and use. This is always
Cool.
an individual case when we
Right.
talk about revenge porn. So there's no super system
Yeah.
that solves this. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's like a case by case basis. And I guess like on that note too, I mean, with the rise of like deep fakes and stuff too, like is that something that legal fans can help assist with too, and distinguishing what is deep fake and what is your own
100%. Yeah.
content and stuff like that? Like,
One of those nine things, what I mentioned earlier of how we find
mhm.
leaked content, one of them covers deepfakes very accurately, actually.
Mm,
I mean, obviously, it requires always some face in a deepfake.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's
Yes.
correct. So therefore, our biometrics is insanely good at detecting deepfakes. Yeah, we do this too. It's in the product. Both small plan and big plan include deepfakes and deepfake impersonation.
Oh, you do a lot of things, which is amazing. I'm like asking you all the things. Like, what else do I need to cover over here? I mean, beyond the adult industry, which I'm assuming that you're specializing in, do you also have requests from other creators and influencers that are not in the sex work space too, that are also dealing with people that are stealing their videos and their TikToks and stuff like that, or like their
We do
YouTube? There's a
this.
lot of those accounts.
That's what we do with our Swiss parent entity. That's why I tried to explain it a bit. So
Mm,
legal fans is
gotcha.
really just adult industry, a little
Gotcha.
oriented on the legal fans, only fans
Yeah, I
assimilation.
got that.
Yeah. Even though we're kind of pivoting, we're kind of switching because we have so many products, as you just mentioned, which we want to
Yeah, you
launch
have a
under
lot.
legal fans. So our leak tool will be called leakscanner.com in the future, but you'll be able to find it under legal fans for now. And then
Hmm.
we'll have some different adult products under legal fans. But yes, to come back to your question, our parent Swiss company does also some mainstream stuff.
Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, we do this, but also not only content creators. We have songs that we protect, like music. We have
Yeah,
companies that have trademarks. We do this kind of
that's
stuff as well.
true.
Yes.
That's trademark law. Yeah, now we're just like widening
Yeah,
widening that umbrella a bit more. But yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff is related though, when you boil it down.
absolutely. And
Yeah,
especially, I mean, our AI is just, we just build a tool that is able to find, I always like to say, we can find everything on the internet, what we tell it to find. So it doesn't matter
that's
what we're
cool.
looking for.
Wow. I mean, going back to like the different tiers that you have, the small plan,
Hmm.
the other plan as well. Do you find that one plan is more popular than the other? And I feel like it just depends on the type of creator you are. If you're a micro creator, if you're a larger creator and stuff too. I guess that's kind of what it boils down to.
Um, we are very numbers driven company. I can give you like the number where we
Sure, I
see
love
a
analytics.
difference in yeah, difference in impact. I'm not sure. Yeah. So, okay, we see if you're a creator making 4K or less, we recommend the small tier. If you're making 4K or like more than 4K, we recommend the big tier. That's where we see it because, again, we monitor the numbers also of your revenue. That's where we see that our costs of 160, 70, or $150 are covered because it's quite quick, right? It's like potentially 2 pay-per-view pieces of content to have
Yeah.
to be in charge of your rights. Like, come on.
Totally. It's kind of like a no-brainer.
We know we're not the most important thing, but you should be worth yourself $150 to empower yourself and be like in charge or CEO of your own content, please.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what where we see a differentiation. So if you're super small starting out, I personally, if I would start tomorrow, I'm not a content creator maybe yet. Maybe it will come in the future. But I would immediately get a service like this, because the earlier we start, the earlier we can find the first single leaks. And because leaks are always, there's a lot of leak sites that just repost leaked content. They're not, because they don't want to pay for your stuff. They're like,
Right.
what is the easiest way to make money off the internet? You go to a pirate site, you pirate stuff, you pirate from the pirates, and you put a price tag on it and you sell it to someone. That's easy. Zero costs, 100% profit. And if you start in the beginning to like eliminate all leaks, then the pirates that go to the pirate sites won't find anything. There's like a cascade which you can like intercept right in the beginning. And that's why I would always invest those $70.
Yeah, it can be a good investment. Guys, invest in yourself, everyone. One more thing too, because I know you said it earlier in the episode too, but like for the models and creators that you do work with, you said you guys also monitor the revenue, and do you see a direct correlation in terms of like when you do take down leaked content, you see the revenue going up, or like, can you explain that a bit?
We see correlations, but we're always very careful. We would never give you that value proposition of, if you sign with LegalFans, you're going to make 5K more this month, because there's two things. First of all, maybe the increase in revenue has something to do with you just doing better marketing than you did before.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors.
Thing is, the second, someone who would like consume leaked content for free, would he actually pay for it? And it's just there's correlation, but no. So we just monitor it because we see increases, and overall we wouldn't say there's no. It's not luck that we see this correlation, but we don't want to measure it and be like it's 20% more or less. But yes, we definitely see it, but it does not come from direct pays. It really comes from the brand, which I'm saying again, if you're building a brand, and if your brand is like free accessible, you're just losing trust, you're losing credibility, and that's where you're we also, by the way, we also have some creators that just put like their LegalFans subscription on their wish list, and a lot of fans are super willing to pay. A lot of fans are super willing to pay to like have you exclusively, because that's what their vision and feeling is. And again, $70 is not that much. So,
no, it's not. That's really cool. There's so much value I find that there is in LegalFans and the service you're providing, and also it's such an important service that like I feel like all models and people in the industry should be utilizing. Quick rapid fire, just close out the episode because we're almost there. We're almost there, people. What are like your top 3 things in terms of like if you wanted a creator to be proactive in protecting their themselves and their brand? What are the top 3 things that you can advise people on
doing like being proactive? Okay, it's a good question, because there's always,
it's a great question.
The reason why this is such a good question, like there's so much you could do proactively to prevent leaks. But we all know that you're not going to do it, and you don't want to do it. Like, do you really want to watermark every single piece of content which you're sending out to a fan? It's going to be quite a lot of work. But in the end, if you would do it theoretically, you would know exactly which fan distributed it if you find it again, right? So do you want me to just tell? I mean, I'm not sure if we're running out of time, but just like a super short story of how someone like was doing this, like one of our clients. Okay, just
it's relevant.
Let me try to see how I can bring this into the English version, because it's a German creator I have in mind. But she was like content that was looking like a little like a Snapchat screenshots. Like, everyone probably knows the picture of like where the text bar is in the middle, and she was like sending text Snapchat style content which she sold. And she had that thing, and there's just it's a little weird, but there's a German saying that's like Biele, Biele, Biele. It's like just people know it in Germany. And the thing is, she was like, it's just spelled Bile, and she just placed the E differently in every single message she sent, so she knew exactly when it was reappearing who was the one with this E there and the one with this E there.
Wow, that's a lot of tracking and work to do.
Correct, but upkeep. We got an amazing lawsuit. So from this coming, because she knew exactly. And by the
Wow.
way, OnlyFans and
That's
pages like
smart.
this, they are responsive if courts approach them and be like, who was the person behind this username? If you can prove that he's the one leaking it, and she was able to prove that. So theoretically, I would recommend
Smart.
you. Yeah, theoretically, I
Yeah.
would recommend you to put either the fan's username on the PPV or on the
Yeah.
piece of content if you want to take that effort. People want to do this. Maybe you just want to do it on those really high priced things. If you charge $500, $200 per media piece, maybe it's worth to do this. Maybe there's a software you can use. Second of all, good tip. What else would I do? Again, use a service like ours. It's probably a good tip. Just to have one address. I wouldn't, to be more precise, just take a service where you have everything covered in one service. You don't want to have for piracy. You don't want to have 3 different services. This one is able to do OnlyFans, but this one can't do cam sites, stream sites. Yeah, we cover everything. Take a service that can cover everything. Yeah, and
Love
the
that.
third thing is just, I think, just more once more again about awareness. Please be aware. If you produce content, it's very, very likely that you'll find it on the internet. There's no one who can promise you everything will be gone, because it will not. There's always
Yes.
going to be stuff on the internet. There's Russian crypto hosted sites. They don't give sorry to say it, they don't give a shit about our DMCA notices. We can remove it off Google, but people will still find it if they know where to look for. So that's what I can recommend.
And if people want to find your leaked content because they want to pay for it, unfortunately, they're going to find a way. There's always going to be that person, and you're going to have to deal with that a lot. But no, this has been super eye opening, Noah, and I'm really glad to have you on. Like, this really just, I'm going to miss doing this. But before I let you go, I know that Noah, you said you promised that you would give our listeners a little gift. Would you like to
Yes,
share the news?
we were discussing this internally very heavy, because we never did something like this before. But we love what you are doing, Sia, and
Thank
I think
you.
we should do something, especially for your community. So we and exactly. So I was trying to tell you earlier is, for example, if you have your stage name protected by copyright, like if you have a trademark registration on your stage name, you have way better chances, in case you want to take single cases to court, to get damages, to make money off this. So for every single one using your code, I think it's SIA25, SIA25. Not only you're going to get like 25% off your first month. That's like you probably get from everything. But if you commit to us, we're going to get you a completely free trademark registration of your stage name. Some terms and conditions apply, but in general, no extra cost for you. We will help you enforce it if you want to enforce it. Just use the code, and you'll get, like, automatically after a while, there will be like a pop-up in the software, be like, you want to start your trademark registration now, and you can do it. Or you just reach out to us if it doesn't appear. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna restrict it on, I think we said 12 months. So from the moment where the episode is launched, is published, 12 months until we will do this for people coming with this code.
I
And
love that.
it's going to be worth like 2K for every single creator, but we're going to do it. We're going to take the expenses for it.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for believing, and I feel we're aligned in terms of like what we're trying to do for the industry. So guys, take advantage, and this episode is out now in December, so maybe it's a really great Christmas gift, holiday gift, a gift to yourself maybe. So that's something you can definitely take advantage. Don't forget to use the code SIA25, that's SIA, or Sia like the singer, 25 at checkout. So, and Noah, where can we find you? Where can we find more information about LegalFans for those who are just curious about, like, do a
Yeah,
bit of
so
digging
if you
first?
the like direct way to get to us will be, you just plug into Google try out try.legal-fans.com. So it's not legal fans together, it's legal and the minus and
Dash.
then the fans, dash, .com. That's where you should go. That's where you can also enter the coupon code. I will give you'll have show notes, I assume, in the podcast.
Yes, it'll be in the show notes below, guys, if you
Correct.
haven't already clicked.
I will also give you another link where people can reach me and my team directly. I think that's something you will experience with no other service out there. We're there 24/7. You'll have direct contact to me. And if I can't help, because sometimes I can't help, then one of my one member of my team will help, and we're there for you. We really love what you're doing. That's why we're doing it. We're cancelable monthly, so there's no we're cancelable monthly unless you don't have an annual plan. So yeah.
Amazing. And yes, all this information is going to be in the show notes below. So, and I think that's really great that you're accessible and like, yay, humans, and like being able to reach people. That's so nice. Oh my gosh. Guys, if you haven't gotten a chance, feel free to click on the URLs below in the show notes. If you want more information, if you want to get in touch with Noah, you know where to do so. And that being said, we'll all be in for another episode. Are we in for another episode? Yes, we are. I did promise a friend. So yes, we are in for at least one more episode after this. I'm just gonna keep you guys all on your toes until probably the end of the year. So that being said, Noah, thank you so much for coming onto the show today and spending some time with us in the audience, telling us about LegalFans and just giving us all this education and knowledge that I feel like every creator needs to know when getting into this industry. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great night where you are.
Thank you so much, and thank you again for having me and for giving LegalFans that short spotlight. Keep up the great work. I know, even though it's the end, almost the end.
It's almost at the end, guys. But you know what? Still do your homework. Rate and review on Apple, on Spotify. Do your thing over there. If you want to get in touch with me, it is Stripped by Sia podcast on Instagram, Stripped by Sia on X, strippedbysia.com if you want to get in touch with me personally. I would say if you want to be on the show, do it that way. But like, I'm closing out the books for interviews now, guys. That's pretty much it. If you want to keep up with me, patreon.com/strippedbysia. And we'll catch you guys in for another episode next week. And we'll see you all at midnight Pacific Standard Time on Sunday. Bye.